Kentucky has won one SEC tournament game in the last 4 years. That's one SEC tournament game they've won with the last 4 teams. Yeah. So that's 4 different teams, guys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Calipari. Is Calipari the one to blame?
I'm going to say no. I'm not going to blame him on this one, especially not last game. I can't blame him. I don't know what's being said in the locker room or whatever the case may be. I'm not in their practice gyms. I don't know exactly what's going on. But as far as as a spectator of what I've seen and from watching the game, I got to say he tried everything. I'm gonna be honest with you. Cal tried everything. If we really break it down, Cal went small in the second half. He went small. He put Trey Mitchell at the 5. That didn't work. You see Cal subbing in and out guys as soon as they make a mistake, or if they're not defending, they're getting subbed. They make a turnover, they're getting subbed. We saw him put one of our best on-ball defenders on one of our best players. We saw Edwards being put on Taylor at some point. So I gotta say, I can't just blame it on Cal for this game. He's been trying to do. He's been talking about the same things we're talking about: defense, being able to defend, and the passing the ball. Where if Kentucky doesn't share the ball, they just look like a different offensive team. They might not look as bad. You might not see it if you don't really pay attention to it. But when you see Kentucky, the team that we love to watch, the team that's so fun to watch, it's always when they're moving the basketball and they're playing unselfish. And that last game they were not that same team. It was a lot of one-on-one. Your turn, my turn kind of thing, and that didn't help. But I can't blame Cal just for last night's loss against Texas A&M. It's hard to win in the SEC. Number one, I think a lot of teams don't know that. A lot of people in general don't know that, especially now.
SEC is good this year.
SEC is good this year. Like let's give some credit to Texas A&M and all the other teams. We saw Tennessee got knocked off. This is the best conference in college basketball. I can't just blame Coach Cal on this one. Exactly. I'm gonna let you because I know you're gonna. I know you're gonna have something to say. But big picture for me, man, I say let's wait. Let's see what happens in this March Madness, and then we can evaluate and have our justified opinions on whether if it's Cal's fault or not. I know Cal always says blame it on him because you don't want to blame it on the kids, which is totally understandable. But I say right now, let's just wait and see. The SEC is tough to win in, and you got to give Cal some credit. He gets a new team every single year. A lot of people don't know how hard that is when you get a new group of guys and you got to make them gel, regardless of how much talent you get on that team. This talented team that you're getting, you got to make it work somehow in 5, 6, 7 months. And like I said, I know Cal's going to get a lot of bash, but I say I'm not going to put the full blame on him. Kentucky fans have to understand that it's hard to win in the NCAA tournament as well as SEC tournament. It's one game. It's not a series like you see in the NBA. And sometimes the best team doesn't always win. That's what I got to say.
All right, so let's start out with I disagree, Mario. It's 100% Cal. We've been living this dream as what we thought would be as soon as he come in. 15 years now. The last 4 years in our conference has been a disaster. In the last 4 years, you said we're 1-4?
An SEC tournament?
Yeah, SEC tournament. So that's one game, right? One game, it's a survive and advance, right?
Mm-hmm.
The teams we lost to is a 7-seed A&M team, which arguably is playing better than that seed, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll let this one slip because they are better. But last year, Vandy, there's no excuse. They beat us 2 out of 3 games last year, and they beat us at Rupp, back-to-back. Last game of the season, Senior Day, and then they come in first round. They beat us worse, like 9 points, I think. And then COVID, the year after COVID, we lost. It was the worst team that Cal's ever had here. We get bounced by Mississippi State. And then we won one tournament game with Keelan Grady team. I'm tired of I've been optimistic since Cal's got here because I love a lot of people. You either don't like the one and done or you like it. You can't be on the fence.
No gray area.
I like it. I like it for the fact that he puts butts in the seats and these dudes are scoring 30 a game in the NBA. But that's the NBA. That's not the University of Kentucky. They're 18, 19 years old we're playing against grown men in the league. Like you said, this is the best conference in basketball. They don't – once Tolo Smith from Mississippi State or once Wade Taylor, which is 22, coming at you down the lane, he knows what to do. He's done it for 4 years, you know. Calipari is supposed to be the best coach in the country. If not, he's top 3. He's been there 15 years. If you can't beat it in year 15 with the guard play in the number 1 recruiting class in the country, there's no excuse. We've only got one more guaranteed game for the rest of the season. I don't think it's, let's evaluate. I don't think we can evaluate. It's one more game. If we ain't got it fixed now and the rotation ain't fixed now, what's that one game? We could be bouncing the first round like we've seen 2 years ago. That's all I got about that one.
Cal, the Kentucky fans always got to say, you got your Kentucky fans, Fletch, that, when they win, it's Final Four bound, we got a chance. We gotta do this and that. We're going to Nashville. I don't care how much the tickets cost. We're going there because we know this team can win, right? Then we lose a game in the regular season, and the first person that we're gonna blame is Coach Calipari. Why?
Tweets, man.
Tweets. Why? That's my question. Why? Why is it that we have to, blame one guy? And I think it's deeper than that. Maybe Kentucky's just maybe they're a young team. Maybe that's it. They're just a young group of guys. You only got a few veterans on the team, and they're still trying to learn just like any other team in the country. So I don't blame it on Cal necessarily. That's my take.
Well, I would like for the fans to comment on this one, but I'm going to say this right here. This man, John Calipari, is getting paid $10 million a year. Highest paid coach in the country.
He's earned it.
But if it's always don't blame it on the players, blame it on me. He's taking the blame, but that's the same song and dance we've heard the last 5 years. This last 5 years has not been the University of Kentucky. And me, as a diehard fan, I'm not satisfied. I'm not saying win the whole thing this year. That's a hard feat.
That might not happen. I was gonna say that might not happen. Let's folks.
Like you said,
I know we want fans to win the whole thing this year. It may not happen. You could be the best team and it's still not.
It's the hardest tournament. It's the hardest tournament in the history of sports. Is the NCAA tournament. 68 teams. They play one game at a time, and if they are the hottest team that game, they advance. So I agree. It's hard, but we are the University of Kentucky, the greatest tradition in college basketball. To get bounced in the first round of the conference is not acceptable.
So, who do we? I'm not even going to ask the question. I was going to say, who do we even replace him? He's a Hall of Fame coach, guys. Like, who do we replace Cal with and to get someone better as what Cal brings? Cal brings so many different things to the table. And like I said, I don't know. I just feel like we have to wait. Let's just wait and see what happens this whole season.
Man, two really good points, man. I mean, what you said, but one SEC tournament win in 4 years.
It gets worse than the SEC, it gets worse when you look it up in the NCAA tournament. It's even worse.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not declining and saying that that's good or whatever the case may be. I understand that it's hard. It's not easy just to dominate college basketball, especially you got the transfer portal now where guys can come in and out of schools. You got like Cal gets a new team every single year, and it's like he doesn't get a lot of veterans that come into him. It's usually freshmen, 5-star prospects that usually are stars on their high school team, and now you're asking them to be a different role on a different team. That's an adjustment. That's definitely an adjustment. And you have to factor that the competition that Cal matches up against in the SEC, that matters as well.
When you asked who do we replace him with, that I've never, since he came here 15 years ago, I've never wanted to think about that because I thought he was the guy.
Yep.
Okay? But when you think about it, look at who's the best teams in the country right now, like the Purdue's, the Houstons, the Tennessees, like even though they got beat, they're still elite. But if you look at these teams, they've got a couple freshmen, but somehow in Cal's mind is if you can't, like right now, Reed Shepherd, number 1 overall pick, he's elite, but he was supposed to come back for a couple years. You know, like let's say he's on Houston's roster, Kelvin Sampson's going to be like, "Hey man, we'd love for you to come back year 2. You know, let's we don't do it this year, let's do it next year." You know, that's what I'm assuming. This year and every other year, it's hey, if you can go make your money, go make it, and it's just hard because of the turnover rate. It's always hard.
Yeah. And then looking at Nashville, we had a lot of fans there. We had a lot of fans. I think you said you knew a dude who spent like $425, $450 on like each tickets. 3 tickets.
Hey, I'm sorry, Bargo.